Hey, it's Lowry Smith of the CommanderSmiths here with Searching for the Spotlight, Hinata Dawn Crowned. I got a way more pimp version than part one. Got this from Cardsphere. Always love that trading site. I highly recommend it. And it was damn pretty. So working on Hinata still. At the end of part one, I was around 130 cards left in the deck, and I've done some work on it, cut it down to around 100, and I've probably cut about 40, added 10, and we will go through the deck that I have right now, just really quick, just the ideas. And then we'll talk about some of the cards that I cut, why, and then I will also talk about the new cards that are being added in real quick, and then we'll start trying to cut. So I'm gonna try and keep this around an hour, hour and a half. So hopefully we get something out of there. So Hinata's pretty freaking sweet. Still trying to have some of the card draw, just like targeting abilities, something like Storm Chaser Drake. We want to be running heroic, and so being able to target our own stuff when we're tapping stuff down makes a ton of sense. There's ramp packages, trying to blink, trying to copy. That's all kind of what's going on here a little bit. Also token theme. This is big tokens. We got little tokens. We gotta figure out how to what we're doing there. Still got a heroic part there. Heroic is, as I'm looking at it, it's not like super fantastic because what's happening here is like we have cards that just whenever you cast an instant get a 1/1 versus whenever I target this with, in this deck it's going to be an instant, and it's it's just way less efficient, if that makes sense. So, like, there are just cards that are just better, and it's kinda like I'm playing around with that idea. A little bit of double attacks on there, a little bit of graveyard, get that stuff back. Here's that heroic package that's gonna be going on. I talked a lot more about that. A little bit of stealing, don't wanna do too much theft, but you could make that a thing, and I wanna tap, and so that's tapping where tokens, some of the blink stuff that we're talking about. At this point, I've cut a bunch of the counter spells. Indestructible. Here are a bunch of the multiple targets that make it super cheap. Hanada's really, really cool. So we'll see where that goes. Some of the ramp stuff that's going on. Um, Springleaf Drum there. We do use proxies. I try and use as much as what Adam has made, but I've made some random Google image. So, Sunbird's Invocation, bigger tokens, more tokens, protection, removal, draw. And so that's just a really quick look at what's going on in this. Let's talk about the cards, some of the cards that we've cut. All right, we've cut quite a bit. We'll go through this. Spellseeker is going to be a fantastic card in here. I cut it just because it's a tutor. I don't want consistency. I don't want the same thing happening every time I'm playing a deck. So I try and get rid of the tutors from my decks. Idol of Oblivion is a really good card in a token deck, which this is, but I don't know how consistent that's going to be. So it was a cut. I have plenty of removal, so Return to Dust and Crush to Contraband didn't seem necessary. Graveyard stuff, I don't need a ton of it, so one or two pieces are good. Like I said, I got rid of a lot of the counter spells because I don't like playing counter spells. And again, I felt like there's enough removal slash like control in the deck anyway. And so if somebody's going to come and get my stuff, then they're going to come and get my stuff. Blink was too expensive. Protection isn't, probably not needed. Too expensive with the heroic. Again, not going to have a ton in the graveyard. Just not going to work. Don't need that graveyard thing. Archaeo's Mancer's Map. I got plenty of cards that are going and putting lands into play, so I don't think this is going to be as efficient here. Heroic part, what I was talking about was just like, I have to target it to create the token rather than just casting, a spell and just getting the token. So this just is worse, right? Counter spells that I was talking about, some of the removal, bounce just isn't as efficient here. Descent of the Dragons is a cool card. I'm pretty disappointed that I'm cutting this, but I don't think I'm gonna need it. but it could be a Day of Dragons. It could go back in as like a game winner, just turning all those tokens into 4/4s. This is one that I want to keep around and keep an eye on. The Strive mechanic is just really expensive. Um, right here, Dusk Corona is fantastic and Steel the Godhead in this deck, but I'm not going Voltron, so you got to make those decisions. Even if they're going to be good in the deck, you got to kind of like try and pare down and make sure you're not getting too wide or not having a clear theme of what's going on. Counter, blink, blink, just too expensive kind of thing. Tokens. Oh, here's one that I messed up last time. So Whirlwind Denial is a counterspell, but it doesn't actually target. Doesn't say target anywhere in there. So it's doesn't work. Heroic protection. I'm never gonna, there's no counter theme whatsoever. I'm just never gonna get that extra turn. It wasn't gonna be worth it at all. Braid of Fire just is going to be too slow. Brawl was removed because of the counterspell package going away. Um, Fabled Hero is good. It's a great one. And just not token, not pumping theme, so it's not going to be in here. Just not good enough. Like I said, I don't need the remove one card because I got a couple of cards that just remove all of my opponent's artifacts or enchantments and stuff like that. This is one that I misread a little bit, or like in thinking. Maniform Hellkite I thought it made huge token creatures and I was going to love it, but it's for the amount of mana spent to cast that spell, which would be like one. So I don't think it's going to do that because Hinata reduces the cost by one for each target. So you're not paying that mana. So not super good in Hinata. Um, Felt like a waste of money. I don't want to tax people. I'm going to avoid that. Um, this one might find its way back in. Just making a bunch of token copies of what I got could be fun. Just not on theme. Heroic bouncing wasn't really necessary. I'm not looking to take extra turns really, but this is a good one in there. Karn's Temporal that'll reduce it by 2, so 4 mana does a lot. Embercleave, not really. Didn't want to have removal, and then the return stuff wasn't really needed either. So that is a quick bit. I should actually be going into a little bit of plugging myself. This is Commander Smiths. We do a weekly podcast. We have shorts, we have videos. We try and do deck stuff. We try and do card stuff. We try and do proxy stuff on Sundays. Adam does a great job there, and you'll get to look at some of them here. And so we're on YouTube, we're on all the other podcast stuff. We do some games on the podcast, we talk philosophy, we talk cards, we talk new sets. So if you're new to us, try and check out our videos, give us a like, sub, whatever you want to do. All right. All right. New cards that I'm adding in, and we'll talk about these a little bit more. Some of this is going to relate back to part one and why I went through and chose that. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a cool card, right? So it's creating a token. This is token themed. It makes me a little bit of mana, which is a little bit of what I want. I think I'm pretty thin on my card draw, and so this kind of works there. And then again, it makes tokens. And so I think it can kind of fit into this deck, this theme. I think it kind of works here. The heroic, those cards are given +1/+0, and I like that a lot. Shared animosity. I have a bunch of humans in there right now, and so this might just do the work of it. But if I end up taking out the heroic cards, this isn't going to be nearly as good. So it's not. It's just not going to really work. Talking about protecting myself, so heroic or propaganda, ghostly prison, I think are going to be nice in there. Moonsnare prototype. It's just a second Springleaf Drum. Springleaf Drum is in here. Let's see if this will work too. Sword of Hearth of Home. Sword. Um, has Sword of the Animist in there. I wanted this in there, so I just went and got it. Indestructible stuff. So I got Make a Stand, Rootborn Defenses, Unbreakable Formation, and Akroma's Will. Akroma's Will is going to be able to do some work here. And I have Boros Charm in there already. I want probably 3 of these effects. And so I'm making, it's +1/+0, which is kind of on theme. Populate, which is kind of on theme, and the 1/1 counters, is basically a better +1/+0. So And then Chroma's Will is double strike, save your ass fully and totally. It's a really good card. So gonna just like consider all those. Adding in flicker, and I had already taken out two flicker or blink effects. So I'm gonna see what because this can affect your opponents as well. So that could be all right. Getting rid of tokens or just an attacker could be all right. Risk factor is potential draw because it targets, so it's 2 mana. They're either taking 4 damage or letting you draw 3 cards and you can jumpstart it. Seems pretty cool in here. Let's hopefully that can kind of work. Mirror entity is just being able to pump up all those tokens as you're getting through after tapping everything down. Aurelia the War Leader is giving me secondary attacks, and because it only triggers on the first time that you attack, but I do have those blink cards in there, and if I blink it and it comes back into play, it didn't recognize it, and you can do it again. Esper Sentinel just for that extra draw. Sometimes when you're looking at, I don't always for the staples because I just want to be able to play different cards. But when you're feeling like your deck isn't meeting stuff as you're building it, then you can go I go for those staples and add them in and see where they kind of work out. So, right now we are at 100 cards. We're going to try and cut this down for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep. So mirror entity also works with shared animosity. They all just get pumps because they're all the same creature type, and that'd be pretty sweet. That all works really well together. Um, let's see here. Okay. So in this regard, let's just kind of go through it and see if I can just eye up anything. I'm just gonna shuffle that up and just be like, ugh. Let's see if anything doesn't fit. Like one problem that I'm seeing here, all like as I've been going through it and trying to cut stuff, so I'm not totally wasting everybody's time, is um the it feels like there's enough X spells to make something happen, but then there isn't enough room to do everything else. And so if I start like cutting into my X spells, I'm going to want to go and get like Spell Seeker and stuff like that to at least make sure that I'm getting that into hand. But we'll see. All right, let's see here. Will Breaker is going to be bonkers. Nibblus of the Frost. I don't know. That's potentially something that can go. Heroic, I just want to keep that just to be on theme. Let's get that frame, huh? I want to keep as many heroic cards as I can. This is tapping. That's on theme, in my opinion. A bunch of creatures with the strive mechanic. It targets, so it's less than. It's going to make a ton of tokens. This is going to work in here. The blink, I think I like it. I might just be going overboard, but I still want to make it kind of work. So displace, ghostly flicker, your interload, those totally work. This I think is the only counter spell. It's the only thing that it does. Um, and it's a classic. It's not too bad. And so another counter spell, but this is going to be blue blue, do a ton of shit. So this is crazy in here. Maybe we put arcane denial over here just to be like, I'm going to regret that. I think that's going to get cut. Um, So that's going to do a ton of stuff. I think Boros Charm does a lot of work in here because just giving Hinata double strike with the trample and flying, that's going to be able to do some work too. Mention the Meek, that's going to hit enough tokens. There's enough work there to be done here. Triton drawing cards with heroic feather's going to be really really good in here too. It's going to get crazy. Goldspan Dragon, sweet, just making tokens. It has the heroic essentially and creates tokens for you, making huge tokens because your X spells are for each target that you do. And so this can come in as like 10, 10, 15, 15, however many creatures are on the board. And you can target your own stuff too. Remember that to make that X spell bigger. So you're going to be able to make some huge creatures here. Monastery Mentor is a maybe. Like, I don't know how many spells I'm really going to be casting like right away. Like, how my setup is. I'll have to look at that. Um, I think I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't I you know, there's so many small tokens, I don't know if I want to worry about that one. Moon Snare, I do like that in there. I should write this down. I don't think I have Wayfarer's Bauble on this list, so that is a fantastic card. Wayfarer's Bauble. All right. And okay, so protection. I think that's going to be pretty necessary. Mirror Entity, I still really like the idea of just making those tokens huge. This one makes a lot more sense to me than Monastery Mentor, just because it's cheaper. But does that really matter? Yeah, kinda. So I like that. Aurelius seems like a really cool idea to me. Um, Ramp. Yeah. Monastery Mentor is really, really good. Yeah, and I'm gonna eye that up. My problem is how many. It's that ratio of when you're playing cards. Like Monastery Mentor is a really good card, right? But a lot of my instants and sorceries that I'm casting, I want to do after Hinata is in play. And what I want to do is make sure that I'm in the beginning of the game, I'm still doing stuff, anything. But this deck is so built around Hinata, and I want to be able to go like Hinata and then Expel at the same time. So it's not coming down on like three or four. It has to be like five or six so that I have both things happening at once. And then I can get that effect and get a bunch through. So the setup has to happen before that. And I don't know how much Monastery Mentor is going to do in that setup beforehand, if that all makes sense. Prismatic Boon is nice protection, Expel. So this one's loose. This is the loosest one that I have. I much rather the tapping and the bouncing, but this can help out with like red spell removal or just targeted removal. That's fine too. We'll see. Confluence is crazy. Icy Blast is perfect. I still like Risk Factor. Flicker. We're gonna have to see how many flicker effects that I want in the deck because right now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably don't need that many. I already got rid of. I think Chroma's Will is crazy, and I'm gonna need that to close out games. Sword of Hearth and Home is good. Make a stand. I think I like the other one that puts 1/1 counters on better, even though that's like even though it's conditional and Torres is +1/+0 always happens. I I don't think I'm gonna be using this aggressively. And so maybe the populate one is the better one. Like the +1 bonus doesn't matter. I'm more just looking for surviving, creating another token, and then I can move on when somebody wraths or all out attacks me and all that stuff. I don't really care if I'm being aggressive with it, right? Maybe that's how that works. All right. Shared Animosity seems like a really nice card. I don't know if I actually need this. Like, it seems cool. It seems really nice. Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. Come on. Drawing, I think that'll work. I think Storm Chaser Drake. And this is some of the worrisome like draw that I'm worried about here. Is that this can come down earlier, but I'm not really going to be targeting it until Hinata comes into play, and then how many cards am I actually drawing off of it? And I don't have like I should probably get like preordained ponder, some of that stuff that just can get some nice setup. I don't have to target anything at the beginning of the game. It just kind of works and does well. We'll see. Burning Prophet is nice. Scrying, yeah, is cheap. It can block. It's a really good card. And then when I'm casting stuff, it can pump itself. It gets that +1/+0. Archmage is sweet. Solemn is great. Stormkill is good. Esper Sentinel works. Orvar, I want to work. Zafai is going to be crazy. So when you do those X spells over 10, it's going to deal 10 random damage, make you a 4/4, and scry you one. Um, it's going to do a lot of work in this deck. It blocks for a 1/4. 4 isn't too bad. I really like it. Um, Heliod's Intervention is fantastic. Magma Opus is fantastic. March of Swirling Mist, Disorder in the Court, Glimpse of the God. Adeline, I'm probably this card's crazy. It's such a good card, but I don't think I want it in here. I think it can go somewhere else. So cutting that. A Crowan Crusader, just cause it's heroic, it's making it. Um, Snapcaster Mage works. Soul Ring works. Springleaf Drum works. Chromatic Lantern, probably needed. I don't have Smothering Tithe in here either. That's something that, I can easily be like, you know what, my ramp's not working. I can go to that. Those are easy fill-ins that I try and avoid at the beginning, but if the deck isn't working or not fast enough, that's what I go to afterwards. Greaves, Boots, Cloud of the Dominus. I had cut this last time, and I think this is pretty important. Like, it'll just be really nice to give Hinata Shroud. It's cheap and gives a nice boost. Cowardice is going to end games. Deep Analysis is pretty good. Open into Wander is good. Night of the White Orchid. Blessed Alliance, it's a sweet card here. But I think it just doesn't do enough. It's not an X spell. And, for white colorless, you gain 4 life, tap 2 creatures, and then an opponent sacrifices an attacking creature. That's a lot of value. Um, but it's not an X spell. It's not really. I mean, it's really fucking. I think it's pretty cool, but it's something that I'm willing to cut here. Dockside makes sense to me. Battlefield Thaumaturge makes sense to me. Ornithopter of Paradise, yeah. Making huge tokens, yeah. Making a bunch of tokens, yeah. Tapping. I like Thunderstaff too because it gives the +1/+0 and then is a good fight against token decks. I want to try and keep that in here. I'd like to. I like the card. I don't play it enough. Mavinda does work because you're paying 0 and then you can cast target if that spell doesn't target a creature you control. So you're still casting it, you're still paying the mana, and so X spells totally work. So Mavinda's going to be pretty sweet, I think. Morog gives a +1/+0 extra attacks. I think that works. I think so. Hero of the Winds is just +1/+0, and that's like the other part of the theme is giving pumps when I'm in the middle of attacking, and so I think I like that. Annex and Cymide works. Cymede, +1/+0 makes a token +1/+0 gives tokens to all my creatures. Get 1/1 whenever you cast +1/+0 tapping. Tapping top. It's hard to get rid of. Sort of the Animist. If I'm getting extra attacks in, that's good ramp, good solid ramp. Signet, Talisman, Talisman, Talisman. Sutton's Bird's Invocation is going to get crazy. You're going to dig super deep and get free spells. That's going to be really good in here too. Huge tokens. Release the Gremlins. Bunch of tokens off of that by force. Get bouncing. This is the one I wanted to keep, so I'm going to keep this one. So I'll have 3 indestructible: Burrow's Charm, Chroma's Will, and Unbreakable Formation. That probably works. If I have to cut another indestructible, it'll be this one. And Verity Circle. That'll draw me a ton of cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there anything that I'm just like regretting on getting rid of? Would probably be Arcane Denial and Monastery Mentor. Everything else I'm probably okay cutting. So we'll get rid of them just because they're questionable. But I feel bad about that Monastery Mentor 0. So I'm sorry. All right, this one's a little hard to do when it comes to like your CMC as well, your curve, is because so many of those cards are like X spells. You don't want it to be like too many X spells, but you still want it to be enough where you can like consistently cast an X spell. Um, But if Hinata's not in play, like, you're kinda getting screwed. Um, how many did we just cut there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so roughly at 93 cards here. Now, um, let's let's make sure we have enough draw, enough ramp, all that kind of stuff. Protection. That is ramp. Protection. It is a kind of different protection. This is a token card. This is blink, blink. Let's see here. Make sure that we're not getting too far out there. This is blink. Well, blink is kind of protection. That's kind of what it's here for a little bit. Essence flux. That's tokens. Tapping stuff down. Stealing. This is going to be pumps. Protections. That's ramp. This is draw, even though it's not. Draw. Removal. Protection. 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 Ramp. Removal. Ramp. Token. And tap. Ramp. Tokens. Ramp. There. Extra turn. We'll put that down there. Where are we at? We're doing all right. Let's get a little centered here. So the I'm a little bit afraid that I'm gonna have to cut something. Have I thought of Brutaclot? I have not. That's a decent idea. I'll write that down and see if it kind of works in here. Brutaclad is 6 mana, and so that's probably sitting in that spot of extra combat. But turning all the tokens into the same thing is pretty cool. We'll call that a token generator. We'll call that rampish. Card advantage. Boom. Removal. Card advantage. Tokens. So that's an interesting bit. Why would you want to put in? Yeah, I don't know how many tokens I'm going to be generating, and that might be something that I'm cutting down on. I hope not. Um, what does that do exactly? Am I able to turn it into any token or any creature on the board? I don't exactly remember what happens there. Pump. This is kind of like a tweener, but it's a pump. Destructible. Blank. We got that for draw. Tap. We'll call that removal. Pump. Tap. Tokens. Ramp. That's technically ramp. That's just kind of like a on theme card though. That's going to be draw. Tap. Ramp. Draw. Removal. Tokens. Removal. All right. Turn all your tokens into any token on the board. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be pretty nice with like mutagenics, metallurgic summonings, and some other stuff. I don't know if I have any like particularly like impressive tokens though. I'd have to end up seeing what the X spells kind of do. All right, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15's okay. I know there's a couple of soft cards in here like Burning Prophet, and Fable of Mirror Breaker would be a soft draw. Um, this one's going to be probably my best draw spell in the deck. Risk Factor's probably just going to end up being damage. And so we'll see how my play group ends up playing the card, just allowing it to kind of happen or not. Top, I always like top. Mage makes sense. Esper, welcome. I mean, this might be the biggest thing, just drawing a bunch of cards. Well, just one, but Mentor the Meek probably does a lot of work. I don't hate any of this. I still am worried that, like, I don't have any of those, like, shorter, smaller cantrips I don't have, and so those could work their way into this deck probably pretty easy and figure out where those go. Alright, let's see what ramp does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 is quite a bit. Treasures and copies of things. Okay, so yeah, all the tokens turn into something. So like treasure tokens are definitely in here. I have 18 pieces of ramp though. That's a little bit like Ornithopter Paradise is probably going to be sweet because he can get pumped. Sword of Hearth and Home, Solemn, Stormkiln, Goldspan, Dockside. I think I'm gonna end up getting rid of these two. Brings me down to 16 for ramp. Um, that makes sense to me at this point. So I'm and then I also have potentially this as well. So, that's just that soft card. We're fine. We're fine there. Removal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably don't want to touch that at all because the other this is real removal versus the soft removal of tapping and exiling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So like thing about soft removal is you need to be really heavy in it or else it just isn't going to work. You're just going to get bogged down and you're just wasting cards. So I think I just got to keep that removal in there. Are the swords good early evasive creatures? Well, I mean, sort of the animist. Like, I'm going to be able to toss some of the tokens, like not even caring about that. But like green was really relevant when I played this weekend, and so Sword of Hearth and Home gets some work done at this point that I've seen. So I'm happy with it, and it also blinks, and so it can Solemn or Dockside, Night of the White Orchid. Like it'll probably do some work in here, especially since I have like a sub blink theme. So I'm happy with that. At least Hearth and Home. Um, and so I can make this easy and just call heroic cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Just cut 'em all. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's the spice, right? Spice of life. Um, I like them, and I was just trying to keep it to the pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all humans. One human, 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 human. That's a cat. Cat. I think I think I'm going to work Mirror Entity probably just gets cut. I think it's really good, but I need to cut somewhere. 2 2 for 2, 2 2. That puts Yeah, I think trying to keep those pumps just in there and just being able to do that. Oof. Oof. I'm gonna want the extra like maybe that ended up that should be in the card advantage section. Aurelia's probably just better than Morag. Fear of Akum. This art is so fucking good though, right? There's a lot. So BG's saying that shared animosity seems sketch. There's a lot of humans in here right now. Because a lot of the tokens that come into play, well, I just cut a couple as well. So human, um, it's definitely not a human. Human. Esper Sentinel's a human. 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 So it's definitely not like what is it? What am I missing? It's not a Whatever. Whatever. I see what you're saying. I'll keep an eye on that. Human, just looking at it. I think a lot of human. And human was where I was thinking. These are all a lot of humans. I mean, it's just 3 mana, but you're probably right. I'm okay with that. I'll just cut it. Whatever. I believe you. I believe you. Maybe I don't use these, but maybe I use something else. Because I want Thunderstaff in there, even though it's not like a total. I'm going to cut Thunderstaff, aren't I? I think I only need like 2 of these effects, but I need them to work. A little disappointed in that. I like Thunderstaff. I still want to play with it, but if we had to vote, there's only one that we can have here. Which would you have? I'm thinking this, but I know you guys' thoughts. All right. Through this protection package a little bit. All right. So we have no, technically 4. So we have 4 indestructible. Shroud, hexproof shroud. We got 3 there. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blinking. Well, I mean the +1/+0, like all the heroic cards, that's the part that I was thinking that's on theme, if that makes sense. So it was kind of like just that random pump, but that also potentially deterred people from just slinging their little bit at me. But I think I need something that's going to deter people from attacking me at the beginning. That and when I swing out, that crackback's going to can be pretty brutal. So I think propaganda and ghostly prison. Now, like if I was destroying everybody's stuff, I wouldn't have to worry about that. But since I'm not doing the destroy everybody's, X target permanents or dealing 4, 8, 12, whatever damage, since I'm not doing that, I need to be a little bit more defensive on that. Um shit. Okay. I think because I am fine. Am I gonna get rid of my blink package and just keep Eerie Interlude in here? I think I'm going to at least cut Flicker and Essence Flux. 2 is still really good value here, but I need to cut down on just like the cheap stuff. All right. I'm right with that at this point. And I think I'm going to cut one of these indestructibles, and I think I'm going to cut Mansion. So we'll keep that. We got that. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 in the protection realm, instant speed. Target some of my own stuff for the heroic part doesn't matter though. That's decent point. Heroic doesn't count for these. Really. It'd give +1/+0. Yeah. Yeah. Not super. I'm gonna get rid of blinking. That kind of sucks. All right. Metallurgic summonings makes sense. Launch the fleet. That's a huge one. Let's see here. Bunch of little stuff. And that's a big one. So it's kind of like a split right now of just like making a few early tokens. But really, I'm not going to make an early tokens with a Crusader because I'm not going to be able to target it very often. So I think we cut that. That probably still makes sense. and those make sense. All right. Any opinions on the extra combats? So I can end the game a little bit quicker. Maybe we'll keep them in for now. We'll keep them in. What did we just cut then? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We cut 9 cards. So we should be down to roughly in the 85s, mid 80s right now. That's not too bad. Let's see where we are, creature count and all that kind of stuff. Creature, instant. Enchantment. So it might, like I can admit that I might be trying to do too much. Blinking, there's token, there's +1/+0, there's X spells. Something probably has to go. I'm thinking that the +1/+1 goes with the tokens, pretty decent. And I think the X spells can target that, but then the blink spells don't really fit. They're just like extra value or whatever. Okay. All right. Talk myself out of that. Those go too. I still like Eerie Interlude as a nice like protection spell. I still like it. And I have the Indestructible. I'm probably all right with that. All right. If that makes sense. Instance. The sorcery. Let's see here. Creature. I mean, I dig a lot of these cards that I'm playing with, so I'm not like unhappy with where this is going. I don't think I have too craziest stuff going on where it just doesn't work. Where I'm trying to, I want to play a different deck. I don't want it to be Feather. I don't want it to be Calamax. I don't want it to be I don't want it to be like my other decks as well. So that can end up being work. But I think we're there already. Like it's already different enough from what I have. Creatures theme seems thick. All right, artifacts, sorceries are thin. 3, 4, 5. Those all work. Let's see here. Artifacts. Like I wonder if just like Chromantic Lantern might just be better as Smothering Tithe. I don't think I have anything too crazy mana wise. But I like Sword of Hearth and Home. That's still kind of on that blink theme, even though I've pretty much cut it at this point, other than Eerie Interlude. But it's always just solid value. You have ETB creatures, you're getting that land, you're not in green. It makes sense to me to have sort of the Animist also. Like I'm an aggressive deck, so hopefully I can get something like that in. Boom, boom. Yep, that makes sense. Let's go with enchantments here. This, like I said, kind of already gotten rid of the blinking. That's what these would be, copying tokens. I'm going to cut Fable. Verity Circle is going to be crazy. Crazy in here. Probably just needed. A third source of Shroud is going to be nice. Yeah. Tokens. That makes sense. All right. Oh, that's a sorcery. So, instance. Let's see here. We got a lot of X spells. Let's kind of like look through those first. Let's get those on the front. Yep. Okay. Heliod's intervention works. Reality spasm is going to be really, that works in here. Gridlock, icy blast, fury, glimpse, disorder, swirling mist. Those work. Magma opus is going to do a lot of work. That does a lot. It taps down, it deals 4 damage, and can get a lot of stuff. An early game can just create a treasure token if need be. Yeah, that works for me. Borrow's Charm makes sense. Achroma's Will, Rootborn, Defense. Yeah. Boros, Achroma's Will. Rootborn makes sense. Starting to doubt on Eerie Interlude, but it's just 1 white. I have 2 plus the blink. Let's get rid of Rootborn Defense. Might regret that. Bunch of tokens makes sense. A lot of that. Like my draw. I can do a lot right there too. All right. On to the creatures, and then we'll do a count after this. All right. I like that it's first strike. I can toss it onto that. Not super, on one of the equipment. Dockside, Goldspan, Storm Kiln, Solemn, Ornithopter, Battlefield. Battlefield is like, I think that has to be in here. It's just a second Hinata. It's a backup. Can be a little bit early. Each creature targets, yeah. Core Cartographer. Makes sense. Burning Prophet. Feather Redeemed. Triton for the draw. Mentor of the Meek for the draw. Snapcaster Mage. Welcoming Vampire. That's Esper Sentinel. That's an Atom proxy, by the way. Archetype Emeritus, Archmage Emeritus. I mean, that's just maybe this is something that turns into like a Ponder, Preordain, something like that. That makes sense. That's gonna be so good. That seems solid. Annex seems good. This is just kind of what I'm trying to do right now. Little worrisome, but Mavinda. Tokens, 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 tokens. An extra. Any input on what you think for extra comebacks? I think, well, I got rid of the blink. So if I just gotten rid of everything, that's just gonna like all the game winners. I'm gonna get rid of both those, but I think I'm gonna go back and add mirror entity. Just to get some big pumps in. That makes sense at this point in my mind. All right, let's do a count. Let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 75. All right. 75. So, I mean, we're just talking like 12 more to go. 12 more to go. All right. So how do we figure out what we need to get rid of at this point? How do we get there? Need to cut 12. Let's look at our curve. Yeah, let's look at our curve. All right. Make sure we're there. 3, 4. I'm actually surprised that I got down there. Good for me. Right there. Let's see.
Oh, good See? For you.
Got that kind of control. Stupid. That's 5, 6. Yep. All right. And let's see here. This might turn into a smaller draw spell, like coarse or something. 2, 3. Now, maybe I'm asking a question here, gauging this, but would you rather have Mentor the Meek or Welcoming Vampire? Not just in this deck, just a general. Maybe I'm tipping my hand in the future. Who knows? Who knows if that's on my staple versus list? But just seeing which one Adam wants to take. What do you guys think? I mean, that's technically an X-Spell. I could say that's technically an X-Spell. 3, 2. Let's see here. 5, 4, 5. Two, 1, X and 5. Ooh, that's like nothing going on those first couple turns. You know what I mean? So definitely, all right. Making a note for cantrips. I'll want probably at least 2 to 3 like simple draw spells in here. But that is Storm Chaser. I mean, the 2s and the 3s seems solid. This is kind of what it normally is. 2, 3, 4s. It's just this X spells like out of whack, which is okay. But I need to lower. That means, you got to adjust stuff in other ways. Like 5 and 6 are pretty low. But Opus, Shark Typhoon. Is there anything else that I should be looking in here? Tapping, destroy, bouncing, tapping, 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 tapping. Launch the fleet. Tokens, destroy. That's investigate. That's phasing out. That's drawing. That's destroying. So how many cards are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards that just tap everything. 6. Bounces. There's bounce, destroy, all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, I like that. I like this bit. If I get rid of too many X spells, then something like Shark Typhoon or Sunburn's Invocation just doesn't look very good. And I think that part would be fun. I haven't played Sunburn's Invocation in a long time. All those make sense. I like that. I have some cards that I probably don't have that much with evasion, like BG was saying. Like, that made sense. But Ornithopter could make it worth it. Got tokens that could, just get tossed. Probably still like Hearth and Home. Let's see here. This targeted draw So that's kind of fun. I just don't play it. I'm not going to. Maybe it ends up in Savine because the flashback, but sort of the Animist. Maybe that's the cut. Cut this. Like I said, I'm gonna work some cantrips in there. That makes sense to me. Boom, boom. How many legends do I have in here? All right. Chroma's Will, Stormkiln, Archmage. I don't know. I think that turns into a cantrip as well at some point. Heroic. Is it weird? I think I'm going to cut Anointed Procession. I don't think I'm consistently making enough tokens. I think I can make some big ones. But I don't know if I need 2 of the big ones. It's like a do nothing enchantment to begin with. It's really, really powerful, but I got rid of that. I think I'm going to get rid of Core Cartographer as well. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 out of 12. All right. Let's see here. Chrome Lantern. I think I might do Smothering Tithe. I'm going to mark down Smothering Tithe. That might make its way in here. Tithe. All right. Mirror Entity. I think we end up cutting that just for how mana intensive it is. Eerie Interlude makes sense. Call the Copper Coats. Risk Factor. Feather the Redeemed. Triton. Mentor of the Meek. Propaganda. Yeah. Welcoming Vampire. Wavecrash Titan. Boom. Yep. Do the graveyard stuff matter? Does that? So get rid of Snappy and Mavinda. I'd say Snappy's probably not as good as Mavinda in this type of deck. Mavinda's really good. Target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs X. A creature you control. You know, these are just all the X spells. I don't have necessarily a problem on. I like both. I like Snappy and Mavinda. I like both of them in there. Storm Chaser Drake. Big bump. Burning Prophet. Let's get that down there. Sorry. Greaves. Boots. Rock. Snappy. Might be running out of steam here. Because a lot of the 4 cards that I just cut right now, I want to get cantrips in here anyway for those. So I don't know if that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're at 69. Whoop. All right. So technically 6 more cuts. We're basically on the nose 1 hour. And I know I want to mess around a little bit with that kind of stuff. So I think at this point, I'm going to just call it a day, and then we'll have a spotlight on this, hopefully soon. I got to figure my shit out. But this is CommanderSmith. If you want to check us out, subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and that is always helpful. Tell your friends about what's going on. And if you have any, I don't. So nobody, I mean, that's okay. But I would say, check out some of our other work, other videos, podcasts, stuff like that. I appreciate you for watching. All right. Have a good one. Bye.